Welcome to Mic Check, a space for men who carry the weight of being fathers, being sons, brothers, protectors, providers, and leaders who still show up with purpose, presence, and pride.
And we're just a group of men, real men, coming together to have the kind of conversations we don't hear enough. Not perfect men, we're not experts, but men who care about who we are and what we're becoming, and we're just passionate about it.
We're just a group of real men, pretty much having daily conversations about kingsmanship. Brothers in a sense, but just black men in America trying to make it, trying to come together on one accord and just talk about various topics, various issues that's going on in our community, in our lives, and in our homes.
Hey, for real, in this first episode, we're going to get personal, you know what I mean? And so we're talking about why we're here and what makes us who we are and why we have this platform, our stories, a little bit about our families and our trials and tribulations, and really, who shaped us at this point in time of our lives. And so we'll talk about all of what it means to be a man of value and how to keep striving for that goal each and every day. So without further ado, man, let's get it.
Let's go. Hey, look, again, welcome to Mic Check. A few things we want to get started with, but first, let's start it up with an opening of why this podcast, kind of what stirred up the idea of the podcast. What stirred up the idea was just knowing that there were some things as a black man in America, a leader, a father, a husband, that I feel like that I was taking my own advice, and I know that there's a lot of other brothers out there, not just brothers in terms of race, but just men in general. But brothers who are also going through the same thing that I'm going through, thinking about the same thing I'm going through in terms of the weight of the world. And I couldn't look any further than some of the three guys that I look up to, in a sense. I know that I might be the oldest. Am I the oldest on this? Damn. I am the oldest on this podcast. Yeah. Damn. Jeez. But I know I'm the oldest on this podcast, but again, it's three guys that I look up to, whether even from a distance or on a personal level. We talk maybe 3 to 4 times a week or once a month. But I see them and I hear them, and I couldn't do this without them. So as for the podcast itself, I wanted to make sure I can get Doc on. Doc, he's one of the most laid back individuals that I've ever came across. I think he cares very much about his image, and that to me was very important. Josh, almost the exact same, cares about his image, but the dude is hilarious, bro. I mean, he's definitely our wild card. When we take a trip, he the one that you gotta get ready for. And then my man Zach, that's my brother from another. I feel like if anything, if I move anywhere, Zach gonna be the one right there with me, regardless of where I go. And there's a lot of things I just feel like I can't do without my man. So, so here we are. This is Mic Check from my perspective. Cool. All right, Doc, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to you, and from there, man, we can get the conversations rolling. In terms of your first topic, you spit the topics out to us, so let's get it going.
Cool. So honestly, I think what will make this first episode really kick off is I know we're in a I guess in that day and age to where like podcasts is heavily utilized, and it's different platforms, right? You have sports and all different variables and things like that. I think with this one, we're having a group of men, a group of black men as well, in all walks of life. I think this is a special one. I think DB, like you called out, but at the end of the day, I think this is going to make it special because we trying to fill the void and we're trying to fill the gaps that's was not talked about enough. And so I think with this first question, man, is really in regards to, just kind of like what gaps do we feel exist in conversations about manhood today in general. And so we'll just kind of open it up, man, whoever wants to just kind of dive in for real and just, speak their piece of just what types of gaps do y'all think exist, man? It's a lot of conversations about relationships or just value men, the lack thereof. You got them F boys and things like that, right? And so what do we feel like in those conversations? What's missing and what's those gaps that's in between?
I think it was a great question. I think one of the gaps that I've encountered personally, because I lost both of my dads, my biological father at 5 and my stepdad at 20 years prior to me getting married. So I didn't grow up in the environment where I can go and lean on my father for those ideas of what it takes to be a married man, and understanding that that's another full-time job within itself. One of the things that I've been navigating through in life is just more so leaning on my fellow married brothers, Doc, Derek, and things of that nature, and soon to be Josh, hopefully one day, and just compartmentalizing with that individual, so some of my daily struggles, or not necessarily struggles because I don't want to put a negative connotation on it, but more so my issues that I encounter with my spouse, my partner. Some people call it spouse, wife, whatever you want to call it. Just I think that's one of the things that I think that isn't really brought about in a lot of traditional households. So if you don't grow up with a mother and a father in a household, that's one issue, right? Or then you grow up in a household where you did have both of those individuals, and then, you know, your dad was always away working, making that money, or mom was always away working, so you really didn't get to see that traditional aspect of it. So it's not just about the aspect of being a broken home. I think more so the perfect picture doesn't exist. And I think that conversation just isn't had enough outside of marriage counseling, for sure.
I would agree with that because me coming up myself, I grew up in a faith-based two-parent household. Like I said, my dad was the breadwinner. My dad went to work. My mom took me to all the sporting events. You know, my dad really didn't make that many sporting events, you know, but the money was there. You know what I'm saying? The money was always there. I knew my dad loved me. I knew my dad wanted to be there, but he had to go get the money. So I definitely think that growing up in a two-parent household is a great, but you still have the lack thereof because one is going to outweigh the other. Like I said, I had both parents in the household, but you know, my dad wasn't there like my mom was there. Like I said, and I have a close relationship with both of my parents. But like I said, I feel like as a father, I'm not a father, but as a father, I know the father is going to make sure he does whatever he has to do to protect his family.
Facts.
Like I said, there's been many nights where you know my dad was working, you know, but I never skipped a beat.
Facts.
But just to say that you know because you didn't grow up in a two-parent household, you're not going to be all right. There's plenty of people that grew up, you know, they didn't even have parents in general. They had parents, but you know they was raised by grandma. And look how I know numerous people that turned out well, you know, not growing up in a two-parent household.
Facts. Facts. I could
Hey,
piggyback
Doc, I
off
would
that.
love to hear from you before
Now,
I jump
yeah,
in, actually, if you don't mind.
yeah. I could definitely piggyback off of that because I think like, you know, me and Josh, we share similar like upbringings in a sense. It's like, you know, two parent household for sure. I'm a PK, you know what I mean? Like, and so Pops, like, he was out. It was, let me put it like this. It was almost like, you know, Pops was out doing God's work of what he felt was his call or is his calling and things like that. And it's like everybody had a piece of him, but we got the crumbs, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll come home, he beat, man, he tired, he gotta wake up the next morning, travel, things like that. I ain't gonna lie, he did his best as far as like, you know, being there for sporting events and things like that. But I think like one thing that I really picked up from him, and I think also has carried over into like my marriage life and everything else, is how to provide. Like if it was something that I really got from him, it was that. I think the gap
Mm-hmm.
though within that is just like it was such overcompensation on the provision aspect that the emotional connection that it takes for a man to really be tied with their partner, like you said, Zach, or you know, wife, spouse, whatever the case may be, that's the part that's tough for me. It has been the toughest, and I think it's a gradual progression. It's almost like a day to day challenge, if you will. So it's just like so it kind of gets to the point of just like, you know, as men, anyways, we that's natural for us. I mean, like if you a value man, I should say, like you know, to where they're wanting to provide for their family, they want to make sure that they're taken care of. But that's just not it. You know what I mean? Like it's not the end all be all, especially in today's world and today's like dating or marriage and things like this. Like in a traditional, like, you know, 30, whatever the case may be, like that was sufficient. I know like you work, you taking care of the family, I'm gonna do all the other things. In today's society, as far as just like marriage and all of those things, bro, the traditions is pretty much
It's
out the
gone.
window for the most part.
It's
You know what I'm
gone.
saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so you got to do more than just bringing money in. Why? Because
Absolutely.
she can go get some money as well. She can bring to the table. You see what I'm saying? And so you got to
Mm-hmm.
come with more than just that. And I think like for me, I'm just like, all right, if I'm these are the things. If I'm providing for my family, I'm here. I'm doing what I got to do. That should be enough. But it's not. You see what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And so I think that was such an eye-opening experience for me, and I think that's one of the gaps that I feel like exists when you talk about manhood because it's so much of an overcompensation of like you got to provide, you got to protect, you got to do these things, and the emotional connection, all the other things that's like equally important. I don't think it's taught to us from an earlier stage, a developmental stage, you know, to prepare us for a life-changing event like a marriage or even having kids, and instilling that in our kids as well. So, but yeah, I'll pause there though, man. I'll pass it over to you, bro. But that's my take on like the gap.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I think one of the things that I've learned is to have the triple P's. You hit on two of them, Doc. That's provide, protect. And I think one of the things that I didn't necessarily struggle with, but I had to more so navigate to, is the being present aspect of it. So
Yeah.
we hit on the not being there for certain events or getting the crumbs when you come back home. And I think as fathers, for that generation, I think that's going to break that curse of adding that triple P in there, of being present, because we see the effects that it's had on us as we grew up. So that's, I think, beautiful for all of us to be able to open and share that. And Derek, I'd love to hear you.
Man, it's tough because I'm thinking like that was the standard back then.
Yeah.
Now this is the standard, bro. Wait to the next generation. I mean, like real talk. If we think about it, we continue to raise the bar, and with stuff like AI and all this other stuff that's coming about, bro. I'm actually worried, and I think this is the perfect platform to even speak about things like that, because it's about, if we're raising the bar, some of us are already tired, some of us are stressed, some of us are having anxiety and things like that in terms of trying to make sure that we hitting on all cylinders. But wait till the next one gets there, and it's funny because we didn't really learn about a lot of the anxiety and all that other shit back in the day. And then here we are. Now we're going through it, we're providing, but we're also being present, which is that's a whole nother thing, just being a present father. And I mean, and Josh, I think in your perspective, maybe even a present cousin, a present uncle, a present whatever, just being present is a whole nother beast. But I do think that was what was lacking. And I know for me, I grew up in a single parent household. My mom and my dad, they had divorced when we were younger. And to be honest, a lot of the times my mom had to be there and do it all. We didn't even live in the same city and state as my dad. So I kind of look at it as like, I know what I wanted as a kid. So for me, I'm kind of doing things that I wanted, not necessarily knowing if I'm even still doing it right.
Right.
And I mean that to say, like, I'm trying my best to be there for my kids at every function. I'm trying to make sure I'm going to work every day, coming back, knocking stuff out of the crib. I just cut a tree a minute ago before this, and I'm just like, bro, like what is it that you trying to do it all, and even then you still don't know if you're doing it right, because how do I know that that's exactly what they want? So I think all in all, man, I think you kind of got to remember to check your own boxes with this, and I think that's how we sometimes get a little bit more heavier things on our shoulders when we started stressing about some of the things that we're doing that we weren't taught, that we're trying to figure out ourselves along the way. So I think for me, that's the gap that I'm seeing from the past. And then we have a current, and then we have a potential worry about the future that I'm thinking about for like my kids, my son.
It's.
But
I mean, I feel as though, like, we talk about the gap, but one thing that I can say that I learned from my father is a hard work ethic.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I didn't learn anything else, he taught me how get up and work. Nobody's going to give you anything in life. You got to go out there and get it. And I hold those values till this day.
Absolutely.
No matter.
Did you hate him? Did you find times where you envied him for stuff like that? Like bro, like who wants to get up at 8:00, like 7:30 on a Saturday?
Yeah, man.
And then later you just think yourself.
It was those principles that he taught me. If I wanted to go do something that weekend, I had to, cut the grass. I had to take out all the trash, take it to the dump.
Yeah.
I had to make sure the house was clean the car.
I ain't heard the dump in years, bro.
Yeah. Do everything. You know what I'm saying? I had to take out the trash. Like if I needed to do something that weekend, like I already knew what I had to do.
Yeah.
Looking in hindsight to the future generation, a lot of these kids now are lazy, man. They don't want to work.
Man,
they don't want to work.
Yeah.
I mean, I think part of that is a part of society too, though, man. Society has evolved to a place where a lot of the traditional things that we did when we were younger, it just no longer exists.
Yeah.
So I think we talk about the aspect of being present. That's where we break that curve. We got a lot of tablet babies, a lot of phone babies. I come from a generation where my mother used to drop us off at the library, and my older brother had the responsibility of a parent, and he was 12. You got to watch your siblings, make sure we all doing reading and all of that good jazz. But now it's like put that phone in front of that boy, that tablet in front of him, and you really fighting against technology in a sense too.
Yeah. And it's crazy because kids nowadays, they don't want to talk. In my profession, you have to talk, and a lot of our professions that we have to talk to people. Kids, they don't know how to talk to people because you know why? They're always in the tablet, always in the phone. They don't know how to go outside and play. I stayed outside till my dad whistled for me to come inside.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be outside.
We had the street lights.
Street lights.
Bro,
Kids nowadays don't want to go out and play. They rather stay inside in the AC, and that's where the lack of, because they got it easy now. They got it easy. Kids don't even carry books to school no more.
No,
Everybody got a tablet
or a laptop.
What's going on with the world right now?
Or Crocs.
Kids don't bring book
Those
bags. They don't bring nothing. They don't even use lockers no more.
Yeah.
Don't got homework. What you mean you ain't got no homework?
And speaking of lockers, remember your combination was like a bank account.
Exactly.
You understand? If you forget your locker combination, come on, man.
You hit after that, bro. Yeah.
Kids don't even get lunch money no more. It's crazy.
No word. No, you got to put it on the. You got to like digitize it now. You got to send it to their account.
That's crazy.
Like, look, man. Look,
I remember getting out of the car, asking my mom, "Can I get $5 so I can get a little Debbie cake or something like that?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you got to put it to a car. You know what I'm saying?
That's a box of goddamn Debbie cakes for $5.
Yeah. Right. It's crazy, man. It's totally crazy. But I'm optimistic about the future. I just hope things get a little bit better, man, because we got to teach our kids, and y'all have kids, and DB, you have children, and I just feel like you guys are going to instill those values in your kids, But what about everybody else?
Right.
I think it was Meek Mill said, "Scared money don't make no money. If I ever go broke, I'm gonna take your money." And that's what people on. That's what type of times of people on today.
These YNs different, bro. These YNs.
Yeah, they different. And isn't it age groups for YNs? When that start?
Yo, that's
3.
I see.
Hey, look, they getting them tablets at 6 months. I'm just saying.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm trying
everything
to tell you, man.
bro.
But I am optimistic about the future. But in hindsight, like I said, when you got good men like yourself, you know what I'm saying, on this panel, on this podcast, we can be the change.
Yeah.
At least I know back in North Carolina, in my city, there's not a lot of kids going to Boys and Girls Club. Like, we went to the Boys and Girls Club. Yeah. We had 4-H. We had after school programs.
Yeah.
And you probably walked to them.
Park and recreations. Yeah. Like, we always had something going on.
Sweltering heat.
There's not a lot of stuff in the community for kids these days, man. That's the lack, So if you're not hanging out and doing something constructive, you can do the lack thereof.
Facts. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good segue into this question too, around like manhood without blueprints, right? Like I think what we're talking about now, like as the world is transcending, it has transcended into things being so tech based. I mean, even for myself, like I'm a manager for an ed tech company, Clever. Like a lot of kids using it. When COVID happened, like we boomed at that point because it was so necessary for like digital learning platforms to, so learning could still be something that kids had the experience to do, even outside of the school building in itself. So even the things like y'all called out of like things that are very much custom for us, like it'll never be the same, for these kids anymore, man.
Right.
Like it's everything has changed. And so I think like as we talk about, and I guess this question could go, for women as well, because things not just to say like about men, but being that, that's just kind of like our basis here and our focus. I don't know. I want us to just kind of talk about a little bit like manhood without blueprints. Like we're told to be men essentially, but not to say nobody is showing it, but where everybody is trying to figure out their own shit. Like, how do you then teach, a younger generation, like we talking about, what we would consider to be the right way? You see what I'm saying? Because like things have changed. Like I said before, traditions are no longer, to me, some traditions carry over into this new day and age, but for some of it, it's just not relevant anymore. And so as things continue to change, like how do we leave the blueprint, for our kids, for our little nephews and our godsons and cousins and things like that? So I don't know. I'm trying to get us a little thought, man, but because for me, I don't have it all figured out. Like I'm saying, like people look on IG and it's just like, oh yeah, he like I'm still learning myself. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so yeah. Like, I don't know. How do we?
Bro, I look at it like, for one, IG get what we give it. You know, like
Right.
they gonna
True.
think we got shit together regardless.
Boy.
And so and not to mention, and let me before I say that, before I jump into that, Zach, you can go ahead and lift that cup my way. I don't mind. I don't care. We don't care.
It's over there.
I say, look,
You know,
I say I'm over here with the Kool-Aid pouch, so
Hey, listen, I
hopefully
see
y'all
you.
don't mind.
I thought it was a Capri but look,
I said, yeah, it is, but
I ain't want to interject.
I ain't want to put the brand in it, but
Hey, D, leave the kids
look,
snacks
you ain't getting
alone,
paid
bro.
for that.
hey,
the kids
look,
snacks
when you got kids,
right.
Doc, you know that you eating
Right.
their snacks because you paid for them. They your snacks.
They
until
my
can't.
snacks. They my
You gotta-
snacks.
Right. Exactly. This is my shit.
You got this.
But my bad. But yeah, no, I think for me, bro, I kind of look at it like, one, I feel like social media and just more so like the social acceptance of things now. I kind of give my kids, my oldest especially, my 13-year-old, I give him pieces at a time. It's like, I ain't gonna overload him because I know that, you know, everyone else right now, especially that sits next to him, they get it a different kind of way. They might not be out here helping me. For example, I just cut down some trees a minute ago, just branches, right? But I had him outside with me. It was 91 degrees outside. I'm hot too. But I didn't need him to help me. But I'm like, bro, you finna help me. But he didn't help me all day. So I'm at least gonna try to give him a little bit of something. Like, bro, I know. And now back in the day, in our time, it was you was out there probably the whole time.
Yeah.
With with your parents, your grandparents, definitely your grandparents. My granddad ain't play that. So
Hand me
you was
that wrench
definitely out
over
there
there.
with him. Yeah, exactly. And so you definitely getting your share over there at his place. But I think for me, I recommend, or at least not even recommend, but for me, I do it pieces at a time. And even then, bro, I think I'm still learning too. Is this enough? Am I doing enough with teaching them? And my man gonna be out. Well, he gonna be 18 in 5 years. Am I doing enough today for him to be ready and prepared? I will honestly say I'm a work in progress to make sure he's fixed and ready in terms of like just being able to go out in the world. But I'm not done at 18 either. So we all a work in progress, bro.
Yeah,
But
I
I
mean-
think oh, go ahead, Zach.
Go ahead. Sorry, no, I cut you off.
I was ready to say, but I think in terms of like manhood in general, I think that, again, I mean, I don't have it all. That's why I look to people like Josh. I look to people like Zach. I look to people like Doc and a few other men that I could think of. And I'm like, bro, how do you do this, bro? And you'd be surprised the feedback that comes back, and it's like, bro, I was thinking the same shit.
I'm trying
And
to
that-
get through it myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going through the same thing.
Right.
Go ahead, Zach. My bad, bro.
No, you good, man. I think, to answer the question, Doc, my manhood blueprint that I've tapped into is a title called Emotional Intelligence. And that's understanding that you can't communicate with everyone the same. Whether that as a father, Derek tapped on that a little bit, so I'll piggyback on his last example, is rather that he has to tap into his emotional intelligence knowing that his 13-year-old won't have the same capacity as his 3-year-old or his 4-year-old. So you have to be able to compartmentalize and talk with that individual differently, or show them. Some people call it tough love. I just think it's a different form of love, wherever space that person is, and that can spill over into the idea of marriage as well. So, one of the biggest things, again, along the blueprint with that idea of emotional intelligence is understanding that I can't expect me out of my wife, so the things that I would expect me to do in a situation, whether that's take the trash out, whether that's as soon as you get home, walk the dog, because I'm a fur daddy. I got dogs and cats around here. So, like, my idea of understanding that me won't exist in whoever I'm communicating with, never. Whether that's one of my best friends, who's Derek, Josh, one of the guys that has grown from the dude that, brought up in the fraternity, dude I consider like a brother, best friend as well, Doc, you know what I mean? I can't expect none of us to communicate the same. And I think my blueprint that I've established along my manhood journey is just having that emotional intelligence and understanding that conversation with Derek could be completely different from conversation with Doc. Doesn't mean both of them didn't understand what I was saying. It's just I got to learn how to break that down to both of them completely different, because they're two different individuals. So that's what I think. One of the things
One
that
of
we
us
should
slower,
teach.
goddammit. I'm a little. You dumbed that motherfucker down for me.
Nah, that's tough though.
Hey, Doc. Hey, Josh. I think you talking, but I can't hear you, bro.
I can hear Doc.
Is it me again? No, it's
I
Josh.
can hear you.
Yeah, nah, I can't hear you, brother.
Can't hear Josh.
Yeah, still can't. Yeah.
It's the colors. Told you.
Get the out of here, man. The colors is coloring though, goddammit.
Mm-hmm. They
Colors is
voguing.
coloring.
They doing all of that, man. The colors is dead, man.
The colors is coloring, my boy.
Are we good now?
We got you.
Yeah, we amazing now.
Yeah. So basically, the blueprint and what I've just been, going through like the past, I was like the past 2 years, is just being a better man and just like talking things out. in my profession, I've seen a lot of stuff, did a lot of stuff, and I was one back in the day to be like, man, therapy's like trash, man.
Mm,
I don't need to go to therapy, man. I'm a man.
mm,
You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
I don't need to talk to anybody about my problems or what I've seen or what I got going on. But bro, the first time I went to therapy, man, it was like I left from there. I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying? you know, us as men, we're taught to be so strong. You know, I'm an avid guy in the gym. I got to be this strong guy. I'm 6'3". I know he got to have this manhood aura about him. But at the end of the day, I come home to an empty home. You know what I'm saying? I got a dog. I'm a fur dad too.
Yeah,
But it's just me and him. So, who do I talk to? You know what I'm saying? Who do I have to, I can reach out to my brothers and stuff like that, but at the end of the night, it's just me. So I've learned, over the past 2 years, it's good to have people in your corner that you can talk to because,
Yeah,
you know, us as people in general, people see a lot of stuff. They go through a lot of
yeah,
stuff. Just the average person just sees a lot of stuff through
yeah,
through life. Life be life, and that's real.
man. You
I
know,
was
if I if I
saying.
if I could jump in, Josh, and I'm so sorry to cut you off, but bro, that's so important. What you just said was that it's so many things in terms of like that you're going through, but who can I call? And I mean, I think all three of you guys are witnesses of me calling out of the blue. And I think for me at least, I know for me, I get a couple calls too, but and I'm shit, I'm over here getting goddamn little teary eyed now thinking about because I think one of the best things to hear when somebody call you or call me is, bro, I ain't even want none. I'm just calling to check on you. Like, bro,
Right.
what? Like,
yeah,
dog.
hmm
And
hmm
usually that's kind of how I'll either start the call or I'll end the call. Because most times when people
hmm
call you, 9 times out of 10, they probably want something.
For
Or they
something.
probably need something, or they reminding you about something that you need to do for them types. And I'm just like, bro,
hmm
I ain't got no motive. I'm just calling you, checking
hmm
on you weekend, dog. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just going from there. And I urge you to do the same. Like just a
Yeah.
random brother. Shit, I call Steve all the time. Steve be like, yo, I'm like,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
called to say what's up. And
Right.
that's it.
Right.
But that's one thing about growing up, maturing into manhood. Having a circle.
Yeah.
Having a group of people that you can talk to, and they understand you, and they're just not going to hear your side and pick your side. But somebody that's going to give
Mm-hmm.
you an honest opinion. They're going to give you their stance. Of course, you want to hear what you want to hear, but you need somebody that's going to give you their stance. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm all in on therapy, man. Therapy is great. Therapy has helped me through a lot of stuff, and that's something that I feel like, that could something that could bridge the gap from this younger generation because a lot of these kids have seen a whole lot of stuff at a very early age, and they need
Mm-hmm.
to talk to somebody about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing. So we can prevent him from in the future on crashing out. That's what the young kids are saying now. Crash outs. We need to prevent the crash out at an early age to get these kids some help.
And it's becoming trendy too.
Absolutely.
People
Yeah.
want to crash out.
people want to crash out. Yeah, that's crazy. Nah, I feel that too, and I've been thinking about the same thing about therapy. I'm glad you brought that up because like I do think it's very profound, man, and especially not even just for men, but just for our culture in general, bro. Like it's like a turn off to be like, dang, you going to therapy, bro? Like, what's really going on with you? And it's just like, really, man. Like, I'm keeping it together. I'm not like depressed or anything like that. Maybe some weeks I might have like some symptoms of that, but I'm not down bad. I just need a like as men. Here's the analogy I like to give, bro, because I think we like receive so much, bro. It's like we a sponge, man. And sometimes like when the get too wet, bro, you gotta bring that out, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna be able to like take too much, or else you are going to crash out, bro. Like we made men, bro. Like we have like high positions in our jobs. We entrepreneurs. We all of these different things, bro. We have spouses, so we have somebody with us. We have responsibilities, whether it's fur babies or not. Like it's a lot, bro, that is expected of us on a day-to-day basis. So if you
That's
call
correct.
me trying to ask or like just put more on it, bro, it's just like, man, I ain't really trying to hear that. I'm not one to like to talk on the phone anyway. Text me. Like that's the type of person that I am. Like at the end of the day, it's just like I feel what you're saying, Derek, because like bro, like I just want to hear sometimes of just like no responsibility, no like
Mm-hmm.
acts of can you do something else? Because I manage a team at work. I got a wife I got to continue to connect with. I got a daughter that's on my hip every chance she get. I got to sneak out the house now. I can't even,
No
you know
word.
what I'm saying? Like that's a real thing.
No
Like
word.
I gotta put something on
And
and hit the back door type thing. Like it's a
and
lot,
hope.
man.
And
Yeah.
I hate to cut you off, and I want to say this,
Oh,
and I
you good,
hope
bro?
you know this, man. It's okay to step out of that realm of what society makes you think a man is, and society boils a man down to physicality most of the time. Josh tapped in
Mm-hmm.
on his height, he
Facts.
going to the gym and things like that. It's okay to be weak, you know. Because in
Yeah,
order to be
yeah.
weak, you got to know how it is to be strong. So if you never take a chance from
Mm-hmm.
being to put yourself in a vulnerable state of being weak, how can you walk around and say I'm this strong man, right? And I'm not saying that's what you're
Right.
saying, but
Right.
we tapping into the audience, right? So the
Yeah,
aspect
Yeah.
of that vulnerability, going to therapy to talk about with Josh, and I think all of us have tapped into therapy. I've been to therapy too, and I've unpacked some things that
you probably ain't even
has
know what.
had personal roadblocks to myself, you know.
Yeah,
So, and I think just understanding that society will put us in this realm, whatever color, fashion, form you are as a man. If your wife say, "I heard a sound," you go check it out. I ain't gotta go downstairs. You know
right.
what I mean? It's
Scared,
okay,
scared or not, goddamn it.
scared or not. You know what I mean? It's okay to put
Scared or
yourself
not.
in a space of saying like it's okay to be weak. And I think weak has this negative thing on it, and sometimes weakness, in my opinion, is just a form of vulnerability. You don't want somebody to be able to judge you for who you are, whether that's I'm going to therapy for my own self-destruction, or I'm going to therapy because I can't communicate with my spouse. I can't
Mm-hmm.
tap into my middle child. I can communicate with all my other kids a certain way, but it's this middle one that I can't figure out how to get to. So it may be a third
Mm-hmm.
party can help you do that, because I think sometimes with that unpassed trauma, Josh hit on it. We needed help earlier. We just going back and doing 15 years of stuff we should have been did. You know.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
That's
That's a
right.
fact. That's a fact.
That's right.
Gotta deal with them demons, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Nah, I think that kind of taps into something else too of like, silence around emotional life, like around like so we're told to be strong. I think like we were talking about, but like how do we heal? And I think like we talked about
Mm.
like therapy and all of these like, having a circle, of people who you can just kind of rely on and just really, be your authentic self, in those spaces and really be vulnerable. I think like what you hit on too. But I don't know, like if there is anything else, any thoughts, because I think people really got to hear this. Like it's people that are transitioning to therapy or maybe went to therapy and, probably been bouncing around because they didn't feel like it was helpful, because that's the thing too. You can go to therapy and, depending on what type of mindset you have, where if you're ready to take that level of accountability, you might have stepped away from it because they done challenge you with some things or push you in a direction
Mm-hmm.
where you wasn't ready to go. And then
Mm-hmm.
some folks may not have a strong brotherhood around them to where they can lean on. So I don't know. Like I'm curious if y'all have any other thoughts of like as men, as we're taught to be strong, like we're not really taught how to really heal, from the things that we've seen and we experience. So I don't know. Just curious if y'all have any thoughts, just like outside of therapy and things like that, for maybe our audience, man, of what can maybe help them out, or people in that space.
I'm gonna bring in some, and I mean I know everyone may or may not agree to this, but for me, it's recently at least has been me getting closer to God. I know, man, I was just talking to one of y'all about, I think it was Zach. I was just talking to Zach about how I think I recently had a call where I'm just like I'm kind of getting pulled back into the church, but I think that's my way of healing, is making sure that I'm getting a little bit closer to God, man. And I mean, and just a piece of the message today was more so your posture. Problems gonna come, right? And I'm just understanding this as I'm unpacking this message that I got today. I'm sitting here thinking like, man, it just makes sense to me. Your posture, problems gonna come, health issues gonna come, but it's more about your posture. How are you gonna sit when the storm is in right now? Like if the storm is in right now, how are you gonna be? If you're going through something, how are you going to be? And to be honest, as men, I know it's crazy. We just talked on this, but you got to be. We supposed to be the strong ones, right? But in a sense, mentally, I could still be in a cave, right? But my posture while I'm in that cave is at least knowing that for me, God is lighting the light for me as I take my next step. And I think, and that's literally a verbatim of what I got today at church. So that's not any. That shouldn't be a shout out to me for saying that, but that's definitely how I kind of look at it in terms of healing. And that's just for me. today?
Derek hit on a great point. Some people tap into the religious aspect of it. I consider myself to be a religious being as well. Some people might say that's let go and let God, right? I like to put it in the realm of like, get out of your own way.
Yeah.
Sometimes we are our own worst critic or biggest critic. I don't look good, got body dysmorphia. That's one thing. So if you ain't happy with yourself, you in your own way. And if, like I said, expecting you from your spouse or expecting you from your kids, expecting you from your colleague, your superior, your subordinates. I think for me, my form of healing is getting out of my own way because I could be very critical. And I think the most person I'm so harsh on is myself.
Yeah.
So if I'm so harsh on myself, so if I can't forgive myself for not looking how I want to look, I can't forgive myself for not having much money in my bank account as I want to have in my bank account, I'm going to then in return project that on whoever I encounter because I ain't forgave myself. So I get out of my own way. That's my way of healing.
Nah, man, that's dope. That's profound. That's profound. Yeah, I think the spirituality aspect of it too, for me, like it's definitely, and I think a combination of both of those things, man. I've been try to give myself a little bit more grace. You know what I'm saying? Like I think
Amen. Yep.
like that's lacking for me a lot. Like, and because you're so much on go. Like everybody in the grind season, everybody trying to get it, and it's just like, bro, like you can't. And this is when the spiritual aspect taps in for me too, because it's just like, bro, I can't. I can't like pray for something and then like get in the way of that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
faith without
Yep.
works is dead. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not gonna be stagnant, but at the same time, bro, why pray about it and still worry about it? You know what I'm saying? Like give yourself grace for what you were able to accomplish at this point of your life. You know what I'm saying? Like you're doing good, bro. I ain't been arrested. I ain't all these different things. Like,
Yeah.
so give yourself grace, bro. And in the
Yeah.
process of your journey, because it's a lot more that you have to do to grow. But at the same time, man, I can't elevate if I haven't shown a higher power that I'm good in the space that I'm in. So there's no
Right.
increase that'll happen if I haven't showed a level of appreciation for where I'm at now. Because it's like
Yeah.
it's so crazy, yo. Like how, because even going back to the social media thing, like even like with TikTok, bro, like you got to grab people attention within a 15 to 20-second span now. Like
If that
or
long.
if
Yeah.
that long, or they sliding, bro. It's it. And
Mm-hmm.
so like even when you think about milestones, it's like we're so much in the process of like now, like damn, this is something great that happened, but what's next? Like I don't even soak in the aspect of what just happened. You know what I'm saying? Like damn, like that was a dope thing that just happened. That ain't really on my mind. It was dope for that time. Now
Right.
I'm on to the next thing. And so it's just kind of like giving myself a little grace, man. And that's kind of how I kind of been healing a little bit. And kind of like what you tapped into, Zach, of like forgiving yourself, bro. Like I'm a fall short. Like forgive yourself, man, and don't forget it, but learn from it, man. It's all lessons. It's never losses. So that's what I
Yep.
would say.
You can walk away from it. It's a
Think
blessing, bro.
Your facts.
think with just giving my perspective, my alignment with the man up above. Yes, I go to church. Like I said, Doc and myself grew up in the church. You know what I'm saying? Um, I remember, when I got of age, I was like, man, when I get the chance to decide, well, I have a choice whether I don't want to go to church. I'm probably not gonna go to church because I have to wake up every Sunday for the rest of my life. You know, and I know that there's a calling on my life, and I feel like, I haven't fully tapped in. Like I'm tapped in, but I haven't fully tapped in because I haven't fully wanted to submit. You know,
Mm.
I feel
I
like
know exactly what you mean.
when I align myself with Him, like the Bible says, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. So I have to get to that space where I can fully tap in with God. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I go to church. I play the drums for my dad's church, and that's my ministry to him.
Yeah.
Nothing gives me more joy than playing the drums for God. Also support my father, but that's my praise to him.
Yeah.
Playing the drums, and I love it. But I know there's more stuff that I have to do to build that relationship with him, and I know once I get there, there's nothing that can stop me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
once I fully align,
That's a fact.
it's just for me sometimes it's just hard to want to fully align with that because I still want to have a dream. I still want to go out and party. I still want to have one foot in and one foot out. So
Yeah.
I struggle with that from time to time. You know,
Hey, is drinking ain't.
Hey, look, I think that's going back to the doc. Give yourself a little bit of grace. We gonna slow it down.
Yeah,
Give
right.
yourself a little bit of grace. You
I
know,
feel what you're
I
saying.
believe
Though.
as long as you don't drink to get drunk, I think there was a lot of drinking back in the day. You know,
Hey, look.
sometimes we carried
Hey,
overboard.
that 15 minimum limit that we had last year, we ain't hit it anyway. But
I hit it every day.
I wasn't.
Every day.
Hey, one foot in, one foot out, my
what
brother.
What Denzel say? I'm drunk right now.
I'm drunk right now.
I'm not. Disclaimer.
But nah, man.
Shout out to Carnival Cruise Lines.
Big shout out to Carnival.
Big shout out to Carnival. But you definitely got to give yourself grace, man. And I feel like in today's time, you know, as far as like normalcy, you want to, you know, get in the church, you know, because that's all you see. You know, everybody's posting on Sundays. They're watching Michael Todd. They're watching, you know, Jamal Bryant.
Nobody watch Michael Todd, bro. You need everybody. You just
it's like 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
But I will say, I think one, Christianity is, just spirituality in general is one thing. But I will say, man, I think another thing, Doc, is like having the right brothers. Like it ain't about quantity to me. Right. And if y'all see it, I don't even like to move with a lot of people specifically because it's like, but quality is so important to me. Whereas like if I do pour into somebody, I got this one guy, and I'm gonna call him by name on this one. My man Fred. That man literally set me down one day and literally spit out everything that I did in 3 years. Damn. And he's like, "Bro, you really taking this shit hard right now? But remember, you did this. You got promoted at the end of the year. You bought yourself a new car in February. You got promoted again within 12 months. You bought yourself a house. You had your first kid. You got married. You did." And I'm like, "Bro, you know what? You right, bro. Like,
yeah, bro.
I'm sitting here thinking about all the stuff that I did, but I ain't know. Just having good brothers around is literally a piece of healing for me. Where I'm like, dog, it's so good to just have like somebody that I can count on. Like, and my wife, she's my everything, right? She'll probably tell me some of the same stuff, but it's also good to hear from a third party that's not within, that's like not supposed to be kind of like making sure I'm good, you know?
Right.
He didn't have to do that, and I think a piece of my healing is making sure that I got some good people that I can chat with and talk to.
Man, shout out to Fred.
Shout out to Fred, man. You know, one of my things is like, you know, nothing against none of our families. It's like you're born into a family, right? And I think when you get to a space of selecting your family, like this is my family right here on this podcast. You understand what I'm saying? And to the outside world, a lot of the podcasts are right now, it may just be two people that just financially align with each other or status-wise align with each other. Like we've been through some stuff, you know, but we choose to be around each other. Because there's some people every day that don't choose their family. I choose y'all. So to our listeners out there, if your family, the one that you were born into, isn't the space or the people around you that's putting you in an arena to be a better person, go out and be vulnerable and choose those people. Go out with an open heart and allow yourself to just say, hey, man, I'm going through this. So shout out to Fred again. Derek wouldn't have received that message if he ain't called somebody that he believed in.
Fact.
Right.
Man,
that's the beauty of. Oh, go ahead, Doc.
No, my fault, man. I was just gonna say too, man. Like a lot of times too, bro. Like we know what we have to do. It's really just like we talked about the lack of accountability, and I think just the lack of like motivation in a sense, man. Like we got, to me, and I'm striving to work on this as well, but limiting my distractions, man. Like, you know, the things that's really gonna, like when I think back on just like on my day, and it's just like, dang, I wasn't able to get to XYZ. Then I think about what I did, and I'm just like, man, you had like 2 or 3 hours here to where you was just bull jobbing. Like you weren't even like, and it's just distractions. Like it was fulfilling for that time, but it's just like at the end of the day, if I'm telling myself consciously of just like, dang, bro, you gotta do better, or damn, bro, like you gotta do X, Y, Z. It's just like, man, stand on that. Like, you know, we, and I think it goes back to what we were talking about initially of like the work ethic and some of the traditions that like, you know, the men in our lives, like, or we see it, not even like fathers or whatever, but father figures, like whether it was a coach, whether it was, you know, somebody in the school system, you know, church, whatever the case may be, bro. Like that was one thing you couldn't question it. That joker was going to get to work. Like he was going to, and not even more so of like an occupation aspect, but just looking to better itself each and every day, like 1% club, man, 1% every single day. So I think also too, man, for our listeners and even for ourselves, man, we just gotta try our best to be the best versions of of ourselves for that day, and limit distractions as much as possible, because there's really a lot of that going on right now, bro. You don't really know what's true or fake now. Hey, y'all so crazy. You see
Very
videos where
crazy.
it's just like, bro, like this really happened. You really got to try to fact check it, and it's difficult to tell, bro. And everything is entertainment. Like nothing is taken seriously anymore,
That's
bro. You can
correct.
see a video of like some wild stuff going on, and you look at the comments, people joking. Like, it's too much, bro. And it's just like you are easily. I'm guilty of it, bro. I'll go down on Facebook, and Facebook will take you down a rabbit hole. Before you
Be up
know
there
it, bro,
for
you
be up there for
45
20
minutes
minutes.
in. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
how did I get here, bro? And that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's a lot of that, man. So that, I would also say that too, of like not necessarily from a healing aspect, but from an aspect of like, yo, if we trying to, really be the best versions of ourselves, man, we got to combat with a lot of technology and a lot of distractions out here, man. And it's a work in progress, but that's definitely what I would say too to add into the mix. Cool. Um, Shoot, man, I think we actually like another thing that I had in mind as far as just to kind of throw out there. We kind of like tapped on it a little bit, but I don't know. I think we can kind of like fine tune it a little bit more in regards to just like, accountability partners in itself. You know what I'm saying? And like I think you hit on it too, DB, of like, a lot of times when we think we walk in the path alone, we find out once we have conversation, whether it's at a bar, you or we watching a game, something like that, you just happen to talk to the average Joe, and it's just like you just in conversation, or your brother that you tight with. It's just like, dang, bro, you too. Like I don't know how many times I've experienced that of like, bro, that happened to me like the other day. Like you too. Like how did you deal with that? So I think like we can probably fine tune this one a little bit more, man. Like a lot of us feel like we walking alone, but at least we think we walking alone because we
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
not. So it's just like as far as
Yeah.
accountability in itself, how do we as men anyways, how do we get to a point, man, to where we can like at least have that conversation? One, being vulnerable. One, let me rephrase. One, having the willingness to say like, yo, I can approach somebody in this way. Like I think you call this out, Zach, of like emotional intelligence. Like filtering, or at least what you're saying, not watering it down, to where it doesn't have any value, but filtering it for that individual. And also as us hearing it, being receptive to the information and the critique and the constructive feedback to be better in ourselves. Like maybe that's not a challenge for us, right? But
Mhm.
for some of us, I know it's still sometimes for me, like because I feel like I'm a polished brother. I feel like I'm very methodical in and I try to go about things
You are
in
a
a way to
methodical
where like
type of, yeah.
I hit my angles. You know what I'm saying? I think about a lot of different things, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
when I'm called out on certain things, I'm like, that's naturally I kind of sit back and just like, what you. So
Yeah.
how do we break that? I guess you know what I'm saying, and kind of feel that.
I can start us off with that. I think one of the ways that I'm holding myself accountable in talking and approaching a person is learning not to talk at them and talk with them.
That's heavy.
Because I can talk at Josh and I feel so passionate about it. And I'm so passionate about it because I'm looking at it from only my perspective. So I'm not talking with Josh. I'm not going into this, and you said communication. It's understanding that in order for me to communicate with Josh, I got to deliver the message. He's got to receive it, and now either give me a verbal or nonverbal cue that he understood what I just said, agreed with it. So sometimes you may agree or not agree, and understanding how to pack an agreement to disagree. We don't always got to walk away from it saying, F you, I don't
Right.
rock with you, you ain't my dog, you ain't my real friend. Eric hit on it about somebody telling them like not necessarily like what you complaining about. It was more so like some of the stuff that you're struggling with is what people are praying for. Somebody
Yeah.
praying to get to the space that you in, right? So in order to put yourself in that realm, myself at least, is to talk with a person and not at them, for sure.
I love that.
I
Bro.
think we just got to be more. Oh, go ahead, Josh. I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah. Like Zach said, piggyback on it, it's all about communication. Being open and being receptive. If like I feel like I'm like Doc, I feel like I'm very polished myself. I think about things. I feel like I got it somewhat together.
hmm
So when somebody tries to tell me I don't, I'm not as receptive. But then again, when they say that, I can think back, dang, maybe he was right. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or maybe I could do this a certain way. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? This is the way I've
Right.
been doing it. I've been getting it done. You know what I'm saying? But this is the easier way. Just let me do what I want to do. But in hindsight, thinking back, like, nah, he probably was right. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just it comes down to being open and receptive and wanting to learn new things.
What you laughing at, Zach?
No, because it's like I'm usually like DB was right. That's why I'm laughing.
Hey, right. It's funny because how often we always think like that. Well, I ain't gonna say always, but it's so many times where any of us can say it to each other and be like, bro, how you
Right.
Or I might just take it like, bro, all right, whatever. Right. Or somebody at the bar, like Doc said, or somebody at work. Most times you don't want to be told what to do, but I think one thing at least I got to get used to doing is being vulnerable and listening, and not more so taking it like, bro, this man really trying to direct me in a certain way, which like muscle wise. Nah, bro, like you asked or you brought it up, grab that wisdom. Most times I like to speak to older guys anyway. True. Like, give me the wisdom. Tell me what I know you probably already been through this, or you know somebody that did go through it. So like, tell me where I messed up.
Yeah.
And for me, I like to talk to go ahead.
Like, don't try to son me. If it's somebody like younger than me, I would just like, but don't try to son me, bro.
Don't
try to son me. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good topic. Age don't mean about nothing. You can get some good advice from somebody 10 years younger than you.
That's true. That is correct. You never know. You never know. And this day and age, you never know.
I won't tell them.
Yeah.
No, but I probably would.
You
I probably would.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not gonna do it there.
You said what, Doc?
You're not gonna do it there.
No, I was just saying, bro, like, I think, like, I'm kind of like you too, man. I'll seek that counsel from, like, someone that's older, you know what I'm saying, and things like that. It's very seldom where it's just kind of, and I'm not an old dude either, like, you know what I'm saying? So even, like, for me and some of the wisdom that I possess, because I'm old at heart, like, not by age or whatever. So, like you said, Zach, like, a lot of it can come from a young dude, man, to where, it's just like, and I think, too, it kind of gets into also something I had on my mind of just like, when we think about the older generation kind of passing the torch and like seeing like young guys, like successful guys, might I add, like us, kind of like taking it and running with it, man. Like, I feel like there is a level of, for some people, it's a level of envy that comes with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think honestly, like, it's supposed to be something of like, yo, like, I'm doing it for the next generation. I'm doing this so y'all don't have to. But it's some cats, man, that where it's just like, it's a lot of envy that comes with that, man. Like,
they pray for your downfall. They pray for your downfall.
Yeah, bro.
People are always praying for your downfall.
Bro, it's so crazy, man, like how it comes to that degree. But so you also got to just kind of watch who you seeking counsel from, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Because like, not everybody got your best interest at heart when it comes to that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Have a discernment.
Yeah, bro.
So many people, bro, watching you and waiting for you to fail, bro.
Boy,
so many people, and it's so when they can hit you with, "I told you, I told you."
Yeah, it was only a matter of time. Bro.
And I think that's why I'm very selective with who I tell certain things to, because I'm just like, I'd rather just keep that over here. I think I got some of the realest people just one on this call, but like, I like to hear perspectives. I like to hear, like, yo, DB. Like, you can ask anybody. I ain't the type of guy that you need to tell me something I need to read between the lines. Nah, tell me straight up.
Yeah.
But also, like, I do keep that to a minimum in terms of, it goes back to my quality point. So that's just me, man. I mean, I really can't tell everybody. I do need to be a little bit more vulnerable, but to the people that I can fully trust, and maybe not just a random Joe Blow, but I mean, I can definitely count on a few folks that I can probably name off top. Hey, look, hey, Doc, I know we got a ton of more questions, man, and to go, but I do want to go ahead and kind of close up for us. We got roughly 4 minutes left. I would say that this was an amazing first episode, all in all.
Agree.
Some of the best fellas in the United States, in the world, is on this cast right now, and some of the ones that I trust the most. Look, I'm looking forward to the continued conversations, not with just y'all, but also some of the folks that's watching. And I would love to hear some feedback from the folks that are watching as well, and kind of going from there. Stay with us, continue on the ride with us, and we're looking forward to go a long way. So this is just episode 1 of season 1. So anything else, guys?
That's it, man. To the listeners, thank y'all for tuning in. We will have some more information and stuff coming out soon. Appreciate you listening.
Yes, sir.
Facts. None more I gotta say, man. But y'all already covered it. Definitely a successful episode 1. Definitely stay tuned, man. We got a lot more hot topics. We got a lot more to, really just bring to the table, man. To not only just help ourselves, but push this agenda forward, man. So everything is relevant to the cause, man, and hopefully, y'all can help us fine tune and really like bring some heat. So definitely.
For sure, man. Thank you all for tapping in. The mic check. Been in conversation. We tapped on blueprint today. We tapped on accountability, vulnerability. Just keep an open mind and an open heart with us, man, and we continue to want to grow with you all. Successful episode 1, season 1.
Yes, sir. And remember, we all a work in progress. Mic check episode 1, y'all. Y'all have a good one.